Sis, I'm pregnant with your husband's child. What? So, please get a divorce and leave. I'm begging you. What are you talking about all of a sudden? I mean it. She blurted out something outrageous. I was stunned to learn she was pregnant, but I never expected her to beg for a divorce like this. She's mistaken if she thinks I don't know anything. At this moment, I have an idea. If you want a divorce that badly, I have a condition. A condition? Sure, it can't be anything big, right? Really? I taunt my sister, Amanda. Her competitive nature kicks in, and she shows her confidence. This is exactly what I had planned. There's no way I'm doing that. But Amanda doesn't realize. She doesn't know that this condition will be something she'll have to bear for the rest of her life. I take a deep breath, look her straight in the eye, and say, I'll agree to the divorce, but in return, you'll take care of the 3 daughters I've raised so far. What are you talking about? Why should I? They're your kids, aren't they? Well, technically, they're not related to me by blood. They're adopted. That's not the point. The thing is, these 3 girls are. My husband, Brian, and Amanda had been hiding a truth that I knew all along. What do they think I've been feeling, raising these 3 daughters? Now that it's come to this, I want Amanda to atone for her sins, including all that's happened up to now. My heart is burning with a hatred I've never felt before. Don't talk nonsense. Then, shall I show you some proof? Go ahead and try. And so, Amanda took a step into hell. My name is Jennifer, just turned 43, a stay-at-home mom. I met my husband, Brian, when we were working at the same company. We were the same age and started the company together. Got something I want to talk about. Want to grab a drink sometime? Only if you're paying. Again? All right, fine. In the beginning, we were just colleagues and friends. I even used to give Brian relationship advice. But then, Brian had a breakup, and that's when we really got close. Next time, I'll... What are you saying? I was happy to do it, don't worry about it. Yeah. I know, but... At that time, I hadn't yet felt any romantic feelings, but as I watched Brian, heartbroken from his recent breakup, I gradually realized that I had fallen for him. I acted quickly after that realization. Holding a slight feeling of guilt for taking advantage of the situation, I confessed my feelings to Brian. It was a success, and we started dating. Time flew by, and we got married during the 2nd summer of our relationship. Let's make a great life together. Absolutely. Let's build a good home. Indeed. Maybe it's a bit soon, but I'd like to have 2 kids. Since our relationship was already well established, there were no major worries about starting our new life together. Yet, I never imagined that my own family would interfere. The cause of the trouble was my sister, Amanda. What? It's not fair. Give it to me. You always get the best stuff. It's not about being fair. I bought this myself. Why don't you buy your own? But I'm your sister. Amanda said, and without permission, took my newly bought cosmetics. Maybe inviting Amanda to our new home was a mistake. Since we were kids, Amanda always wanted everything I had. This didn't change even after we became adults. Wait a minute. Bye, sis. Next time, be careful not to get anything more important stolen. What do you mean? Well, you can figure that out yourself. Even though we were siblings since childhood, all I had ever done was reprimand her. Despite her annoying behavior, Amanda was still my blood-related sister. And that overly lenient thinking would lead to an irretrievable situation. We did it. Yeah. Now that our family is growing, we've got to work even harder. For years into our marriage, Brian and I were excited to be expecting our first child. This joy led me to resign from my job and become a full-time homemaker. However, 6 months later, I faced a heartbreaking situation. I had been suffering from severe abdominal pain since the morning, and it got so bad that I called an ambulance. What do you mean by that? I'm sorry, but you've miscarried. No, this can't be happening. We did everything we could. I was in a state of shock, unable to think clearly. I don't even remember how I got home. I couldn't find the words to tell Brian. I'm home. Ah, welcome back. What's wrong? You look upset. Well. Brian could tell something was wrong from my expression and gently encouraged me to talk. Can you talk about it slowly? Take your time. I broke down in tears, telling him everything that had happened. He was shocked but assured me it wasn't my fault. It's okay. Thank you. Let's just take it easy for now. We tried to conceive again after some time, but without success. Medical checks revealed that I had a condition that made it difficult to get pregnant and increased the risk of miscarriage. I felt like I had fallen into an even deeper pit of despair. And to add to my troubles, a problematic person began to visit frequently. That's too bad, sis. Yes, it is. But don't worry. It's not over yet. I hope you're right. So, I have a favor to ask. My sister, Amanda, had no reservations about asking for favors, even knowing my current situation. Her earlier words of concern seemed empty. Can we talk about the favor you mentioned? Oh yeah. Can you lend me some money? What? I'm in a bit of a bind. Just a little will do. Thinking it was less trouble to just comply, I handed her the last $600 I had in my wallet. Well, that's something. By the way, where's Brian? He went out because he had plans with friends. Okay then. Thanks for this. See you later. Amanda left. And after that, she stopped coming to the house. Peaceful days continued. Then, Brian made a suggestion. I've been thinking, how about we adopt a child? Adopt a child? I was speechless at his sudden idea. We hadn't been able to have a child, but it wasn't impossible yet. Yeah. I think it might be better than banking on the slim chance. Maybe, but... Of course, we don't have to rush. Just think about it. Okay. I was torn. I understood Brian's point, but I couldn't give up on the idea of having our own child. After about a month of thinking, I decided to share my thoughts with Brian when he returned home. About the adoption you mentioned the other day. What about it? I've thought about it, and maybe you're right. That's good. They might not be related by blood, but they will still be our child. Yeah. You're right. And I'll take care of all the paperwork and procedures. Really? Thank you. Brian's eyes were filled with hope. And so, we welcomed an adopted child into our family. Her name was Lily, just about 2 years old, a very understanding and sweet girl. Around the same time, Amanda started visiting again. It was unclear what she had been doing, but she came to ask for things and money again. So, you adopted a child? Since you can't have kids, it must be a good thing, right? Yeah. Wait, how do you know about that? Amanda looked caught off guard. Well. I happened to meet Brian the other day. He told me then. Amanda avoided looking at me, fiddling with her earlobe. I knew then. When Amanda acted like this, she was lying. Really? Where did you meet him? Where was it again? I'll ask Brian about it later. It doesn't matter. She clearly tried to change the subject. Her desperation made me think that she had been in contact with Brian for a while. This is a limited edition item. Yeah, Brian got it for me for my birthday. I want it. Were you even listening to me? Of course I was. But it's none of my business. I'm your sister, so it's okay. Just buy another one. Don't touch it! I tried to take back the cosmetics Amanda had grabbed. However, as we both resisted, we ended up falling over. That's when Brian came home. What's going on here? This is. Are you okay? Huh? Brian didn't address me, but went straight to Amanda. Why did this happen? Then Amanda looked at me and smirked. I just wanted to look at her makeup, and she said not to touch. I just wanted to see it. What? What are you talking about? You did that? No. I didn't. She probably thought I was going to steal it. You see your sister that way? Brian believed Amanda's words over mine. Eventually, the makeup Brian had gifted me ended up in Amanda's hands. And I was certain. Their relationship was deeper than I had thought. Blamed one-sidedly, I watched as Amanda left with a triumphant look. Don't ever do something like that again. But that was... No excuses. It wasn't like that. Actually, I don't care about that. Huh? Anyway, just get along with your sister. Without allowing any argument, my husband took Amanda's side. And because of a certain incident, I began plotting revenge against both of them. My relationship with my husband deteriorated, spurred on by Amanda. Our conversations dwindled, and my only emotional support became my daughter, Lily. Lily, although young, seemed to sense my distress. She began staying by my side more often, even when there was no particular need. Mom, are you okay? Thank you. I'm fine. I'm glad. But even Lily started to become less talkative. Sometimes she wouldn't even respond when I called her. Then I realized something. Before Lily's change in attitude, Amanda had visited. She might have said something unnecessary to Lily. This suspicion never cleared. Years passed in this manner. I'm home. I arrived to find unfamiliar shoes at the entrance. Small ones, seemingly for a child. But not Lily's. A bad feeling washed over me, and I hurried inside. Welcome back. Who is this child? Oh, our new family member. What are you talking about? I felt a moment of dizziness, my mind going blank. Hey, are you okay? Yes, can you explain this to me? We've adopted another child. Why would you do that without discussing it with me? Hey, don't raise your voice like that. I was overwhelmed with indescribable emotions. I couldn't understand why he would do such a thing. Why? I thought Lily would be lonely being an only child. It seems she's happy about it too. My husband answered with a laugh. Yet, having brought the child home, there was no way to send them back. Thus, a life filled with complex emotions began. That would have been manageable, but 2 years later, when I was 40, something more happened. Returning home after a long time, I found yet another unfamiliar face. Could it be, this child is also? Yeah, you guessed right. That's correct. It was our third child. Just as we were getting used to life with 4 of us, our family grew again. It should have been a happy occasion, but the circumstances leading up to it were far from normal. Moreover, my husband seemed too pleased with himself, thinking he was doing something good. Let's get along well from now on. And so, our life as a family of 5 began. Watching my 3 daughters, they seemed like real sisters, even resembling each other somewhat. Then an incident made me realize this resemblance. Amanda came to visit again. It's been a while, sis. Yes, it has. I was on guard. Her visits usually meant she was here to ask for something. But this time was different. Instead of bothering me, she actively interacted with the daughters. Her usual domineering attitude was gone, replaced by a look of affection in her eyes. Ah, I see. I realized the source of the odd feeling I had when looking at the 3 girls. They resembled Amanda. Their eyes and facial features were strikingly similar. Is something wrong? Just looking at those girls, they seem to resemble Amanda. Looking at them, they seem more like mother and daughter than you do. My husband's face showed surprise at this realization. But then he quickly masked it with a sarcastic remark towards me. Huh? I just thought they looked similar when you mentioned it. Got a problem with that? Not really, but I couldn't get my husband's reaction out of my head. Then, Amanda started coming to our house every week, taking over the care of the girls for me. 3 more years passed, and I turned 43. Amanda would come as usual and chat with the girls. I noticed everyone touches their earlobes a lot. What? Just thought it's a habit you all share. Is it? Isn't that normal? At that moment, a thought crossed my mind. If the children were Amanda's, it wouldn't feel out of place. Days later, I couldn't stop obsessing over this idea, as if cursed. To resolve it, I did something in secret. What are you doing there? Oh, just cleaning. Cleaning there? Yes. All right, but hurry up and get the dinner ready. Okay. I was looking for strands of the girls' hair. It was something I desperately needed. It had to be kept a secret. And I needed something from Amanda too. I had never wished so eagerly for Amanda to come to our house quickly. Welcome. The next weekend, Amanda arrived. You seem in a good mood, don't you? Do I? I'm just normal. That's how I obtained what I needed from Amanda too. Just when I thought I was ready. I decided to get a sample from my husband as well, just to be sure. I sent everything off to a suitable research agency. It was expensive, but I decided to overlook the cost this time. A month after receiving the results, Amanda came over with an unusual demeanor. She said something shocking. "Brian and I are having a child." "What?" "So, please get a divorce and leave. I'm begging you." "What are you talking about all of a sudden?" "I'm serious." I was shocked to learn about the pregnancy, but I never expected her to beg for a divorce like this. She was wrong if she thought I knew nothing. That's when I had an idea. "If you want a divorce that badly, I have a condition." "A condition? It can't be that big of a deal, sure." "Really?" I taunted Amanda. Her competitive nature showed through in her confident attitude. Just as I had planned. "You wouldn't do that, would you?" But Amanda didn't understand. She didn't realize that this condition would be something she'd have to bear for the rest of her life. Taking a deep breath, I firmly looked at Amanda and said, "I'm fine with the divorce, but in return, you take care of the 3 daughters I've been raising." "What do you mean?" "Why should I? They're your children, right?" "Well, technically, they're not related to me by blood. They are adopted, after all." "That's not the point. The thing is, these 3 children are." Just then, my husband came home from work. "I'm home." "What's going on?" Seeing his reaction, I thought how insincere he was. "Amanda's pregnant with your child, isn't she?" It's not just Do you even realize what you've done?" My husband was clearly flustered. It seemed he didn't know about Amanda's pregnancy. "You didn't know?" "It's the first I've heard of it. That she's pregnant, I mean." But whether my husband knew or not was irrelevant to me. The important part was something else. "About the 3 children, I know something. Should I say it now?" I looked back and forth between the two. "What do you know?" My husband seemed to understand what I was about to say. "Wait, just a minute." "There's no need to wait. Let me say it. Who are the real parents of these 3 children?" "I don't know, I haven't heard." "Really? But that's a lie, isn't it? You're the real parent, aren't you?" I pointed at Amanda. What did they think I felt, raising these 3 daughters all this time? Now that it's come to this, I want Amanda to atone for her actions, including everything that's happened until now. My heart was burning with a hatred I'd never felt before. "Don't talk nonsense." "Then shall I show you some proof?" "Go ahead and try." And so, Amanda took a step into hell. Just wait a moment. I went to the bedroom and fetched something from the drawer. I presented it to both of them. I had requested a DNA test for the children and Amanda a while ago. The results confirmed they were mother and daughters. How about this? There's no escaping the truth now, is there? "That's impossible." Amanda, even faced with the evidence, tried to make excuses. But scientifically proven as mother and daughters, she had nowhere to run. "How could you even think of doing something like this? To abandon your own daughters just to spite me?" Then Amanda began to pour out everything she had been holding back. "It's obvious, isn't it? Since we were kids, all the praise went to you, the perfect older sister, while I was always the messed up younger one." She was right, to an extent. But that was only what superficial adults said. I had no memory of our parents ever saying such things. But those were just unrelated people. Our family never said anything like that. "That's a lie." Amanda seemed to remember something. "Remember when I graduated from high school?" She wanted to go to college during her senior year. A few years before, I had also wanted to go. But financially, only one of us could. And our parents had initially planned to prioritize me as the eldest. "Remember now? I chose to work instead of going to college." "But why would you do that?" "Because I knew you could do it if you tried. You got a bit wayward because of others' influence." Amanda had the potential, she just never acted on it. "So, was all this just misguided resentment?" "You just ran ahead with your misunderstandings." "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Even if I told you the truth, you wouldn't have believed it." Amanda fell silent, her earlier bravado gone. She probably didn't want to admit that all her actions were based on a misunderstanding. By doing so, she had strayed off her path. Leaving the already defeated Amanda aside, I had to confront another person. "Now it's your turn. I didn't know, so it has nothing to do with me. My husband tried to leave, but I grabbed his arm to stop him. Planning to run away? It's not like that. Then sit down and listen. I made my husband sit on the sofa and continued. Continuing from earlier, you're the father of these children, aren't you? What? How does that even make sense? You saw the exchange earlier. I used your hair for the test, and as expected, it was true. That's ridiculous. Thought you wouldn't get caught? Too bad. You can fool others, but fooling me is a century too early. My husband's behavior had been off ever since he brought the children home as adoptees. Most notably, the way Amanda looked at the children was that of a mother. Even if the adopted children were all Amanda's daughters, such a coincidence is impossible. I suspected my husband was involved, but never imagined he was the father. Do you have anything to say? No, right? What are you going to do now? I'll grant you the divorce as Amanda asked. After all, this is a clear case of infidelity. But I don't want any alimony. Is that so? But in exchange, you'll take care of all the children. All of them? All 3? Yes, all of them. Are you okay with that? I had raised them as if they were my own daughters. There were times of being ignored, but they were still my dear daughters. But I had made up my mind. Of course, I'll feel lonely, but living with their real parents is better for them. I couldn't back down now, not after vowing revenge. Years of being deceived wouldn't just vanish. Besides, the divorce papers are already prepared, just for a moment like this. Hearing about Amanda's pregnancy was unexpected, but I saw it as an opportunity. Are you serious? Very. So, could you sign here quickly? There's no option not to. So, I made my husband sign right there and then. I wanted to leave this place as soon as possible with the divorce papers in hand. I'll take responsibility for submitting these. You're leaving? Of course. I can't stay here any longer. The rest is up to you too. Then Amanda, who had been in despair, spoke up. Wait, sis. I apologize for everything until now. I sighed. This is what you wanted, right? Good for you. I won't be involved anymore. But, right? You wanted to be with Brian despite giving up the children. Too convenient now. Don't worry. They are all your daughters. Amanda had gone to the extreme of putting her children in care just to trouble me. That's something a parent should never do. She would face the consequences. Leaving those words behind, I left the house. It was raining outside, but I felt a sense of relief. After leaving, I went to my parents' house. I hadn't been in much contact with them, but this time it was necessary. After explaining the situation, my parents sighed. So, what will you do now? First, I guess I'll move somewhere else. And I need to find a job. Maybe Dad can help. He mentioned someone looking for help. Really? That would be great. Let's talk when he gets back. I spent a few peaceful days at my parents' house. Then, 3 days later, my husband contacted me. I was expecting it by then. Hey, help me out here. What? It's chaos here since you irresponsibly left. What are you talking about? Those children are yours. You need to step up. They won't warm up to me at all since you left. Amanda is there, isn't she? Yeah, but... His utterly selfish behavior was too much to bear. Deal with it yourself. And don't ever call me again. I ended the call and, before submitting the divorce papers, went to see a lawyer. I had told my husband I wouldn't ask for alimony, but I decided to claim it to make him understand the situation. He had deceived me and now had the audacity to complain, so I had no reason to hold back anymore. Then Amanda called. The police came here the other day? That has nothing to do with me. It must be you. Well, what can I say? You did a stupid thing by putting your daughters in care. Amanda's future, I imagined, would be unimaginably challenging. Thus, I began my life alone. I secured a job through my father's connection, and everything was starting anew. I am single, but filled with hope.